Hello and welcome everyone. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Raman Aggarwal, CEO, FIDC. So we welcome you today at 19th Elets NBFC under Tech Summit, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here and it's an honor always.
Thanks a lot, sir. Right now, sir, what we're going to do, we're going to have a quick chit-chat session about, a few things along the way, like how NBFCs and, India's financial sector is, getting towards into it. So, first of all, sir, I would like to know, there are many key policies about the, regulators and interventions of government in every sort of, NBFC if we closely look at it. So, do you think that they are necessary to empower, NBFCs for the Viksit Bharat 2047 mission?
Yes, see, no sector can progress or evolve without a proper regulatory mechanism in place, system in place. As long as that regulatory system is evolving, is dynamic, and is able to meet the needs of the hour. And I think on that count, I would say all compliments to RBI, because they have been, in fact, sometimes I even use that sometimes RBI is even more active than the sector players itself. And it's very heartening to see that the regulator is ready to evolve, the regulator is ready to talk and indulge in discussions with all the stakeholders. So I think it's all in all, a perfect system evolving. And I see this going, not only continuing, but growing more as we move ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. That is perfectly answered, sir. I mean, that is really good approach that you have mentioned. Like regulators and regulations should be there. For each and every step that we're gonna make, there should be a certain foundation, and that is the one more great thing that you have, presented here, that they are also ready to evolve. It was quite rigid and in past, and it was very tough for especially the NBFC sector in the past. But right now, I think this is making it more streamlined. Yes. So moving forward, sir, I would like to know. So how can NBFCs better serve the underpenetrated geographies like Eastern India or border states? I mean, there still are many states or many regional sectors in India, like if we say about tier 2 or tier 3 cities, they are not too much privileged with the technology or, that sort of the development. Digital, UPIs and everything have reached there, but I'm not specific about the credit penetration there. So how you can, just tell us about that, how you can better, serve these unprecedented areas.
See, I think if you see the history of NBFC sector, I've always said is that, NBFCs have always grown serving the, unserved segment of the society, the segment whom nobody caters to. And to that extent, I always say that NBFCs are the drivers of financial inclusion. So there, I don't see any reason why NBFCs should not be lending in the areas which you mentioned, whether it's the border states or it's the northeastern part of India. And if you tell me today, as things stand today, things are changing a lot. In fact, today itself, I was going through, and there are a lot of NBFCs coming up in Eastern India. There are NBFCs registered in Guwahati. RBI has a regional office which caters to all the northern states. And apart from that, all the pan-India, the upper layer NBFCs, the bigger NBFCs are present pan-India, including Northeast. And I think there, in fact, this is what we've said. If you permit me, I'll quote one. Recently, we got a query from the government saying that, what is the status of NBFC lending in state like Jammu, in a place like Jammu and Kashmir? There was some apprehension expressed that there is some kind of a discrimination. And then we got back saying we collected information from members is in fact no. The answer is an emphatic no. In fact, NBFCs view every geography as a new opportunity going ahead, because otherwise there is enough of, entities delivering credit. So any new opportunity, new market opening up or potentially being there is there. Yes, what you need is a facilitating environment. When I say facilitating environment, on two counts, that one, there should be a flow of a mechanism of ensuring recovery in terms of even enforcing security if required, right? Including the collateral. So that kind of a facility, and that is where policy supports are required. So, and overall, because of certain sporadic incidents which keep happening in certain parts of India, As a lender, obviously, people take a step back because, so that is where some kind of a comfort. And there, we have mechanisms. The government has shown that willingness. So whether it's kind of a credit guarantee scheme, which government can come up with such areas, or special schemes where the risk factor is more. That in some cases are more prone to natural calamities. There are a lot of risk involved to that. And as you mentioned, border areas are prone to man-made calamities, like what we saw recently a few months back. So I think that is where some kind of a support from the government will do a world of good. The intent is very much there in the NBFC sector, I know for sure, to go and cater to this segment of this. There is no dearth or no doubt about that. That intent is 100% there.
And that intent should be there, sir, because I think not we can't, just figure ourselves at the, Viksit Bharat 2047 mission, just being, 12 or 10 states being moving forward only.
So I think, let's understand. Generally, what happens is when something comes up from the government, and that too, a man like our Honorable Prime Minister, if he gives a vision, while everybody catches on to it, but I often find people loosely using that word without understanding what it means. Viksit Bharat does not mean creating, flashy towns and urban cities, and that is also there. Infrastructure, fine. But I think what is the most important element is that all the growth which happens has to be inclusive. Meaning, and what he often says, if you hear the Prime Minister or whether any leader of the present government talking, they always talk about the bottom of the pyramid, the last mile, the last person. So I think as long as the fruits of that development growth reach to that person, the growth would remain, I would say, incomplete. So basically, as I was saying, that what is the key word here is that whatever vikas or growth or development we are talking of, that has to be inclusive. That means it should include, it should reach out to every single citizen of this country, irrespective of wherever he or she lives, wherever he or she works. And that is the real Vikas or Viksit Bharat, if you want to know. And that is where I always say, when it comes to inclusiveness, financial inclusion, that is being the forte and the real strength of NBFCs. And that is where, if you see in my address also, I said that is where none other than the Honorable Finance Minister in an address 2 days back said that NBFCs are going to be the most important pillars going ahead when it comes to that credit delivery inclusive of that last person or the last mile credit delivery. So inclusion is the key word.
Inclusion is the key word, yeah. So by this term Viksit Bharat, I mean everybody has to, understand like this is not, we are talking about, flashy things. We have to look at the bottom of the pyramid, as you have completely said. And, because while being top, you are, prone to see nothing. But while being in depth, it is really good, and it is very much like there is too much to explore and too much to work upon. I mean, that is the great key takeaway from this, sir. Thank you. So moving forward with this, sir, I would like to know how will NBFCs, how do you see, I mean, this we are talking about the growth projections. So how will NBFCs evolve in the next 20 years as India pushes towards becoming a developed economy, as we are talking about already talking about 5 trillion. So how do you see NBFCs evolving into this?
See, simple. While the basic goal and objective will remain to cater to financial inclusion, but the operations, the modalities and the models are obviously bound to change, as had happened in the past. So I think the real keyword going ahead is going to be two. One is partnerships. What I said in my address, that various lenders cutting across various sectors, they have to evolve, innovate and forge partnerships with each other. The real objective here is to try and identify the strengths of each lender. When I say each lender, I mean the lender community. So you have banks, you have rural banks, you have small finance banks, you have cooperative banks, and on the other hand, you have NBFCs, you have MFIs, you have financial institutions, development financial institutions. Every segment of this lending community have their own strengths. So the idea here is to marry the strengths of the two parties to get together and forge some kind of an arrangement or a partnership which caters to that. So, for example, we have a very classic example, co-lending, which started. Yes. It was a brainchild of RBI. What was it? It was a marriage of the strength of bank and an NBFC. Exactly. Bank have the strength of being, plush with liquidity, but NBFCs have the strength of reaching out to that last mile, sourcing, collections. And so when you get together, create a co-lending model, that is where it does a world of good and a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. So that's one classic example. Similarly, going ahead, I'm sure with technology also coming in, the scope for such partnership is going to not only expand in terms of quantity, it is all going to change and expand in terms of the nature and the structure of these partnerships.
Yes, that is, really well explained, sir. And I mean, I am glad that you have brought it upon the co-lending models that we are talking right now here is. I think we can see a good 10 to 15 or 20 years with this co-lending models, paving the great way towards this NBFC and, banking bonding strong together. And thank you so much for answering that, sir. So, while getting wrapped up here and just before parting our ways, I would just like to know from your end, so what would that one word that define your vision for a future ready NBFC and the sort of the summit that we are currently here at the 19th Elets NBFC Tech Summit? So what is the emphasis of these type of summits and conversions? So what is the one word that you would like to say to our viewers, and to explain in a more better way?
So if I may, I'm just trying to pull out that word. Okay, I think if you're asking me to define in one word, I would say an NBFC going ahead has to be smart. Just like you have a smart city or a smart entity, you need to have a smart NBFC. Now, let me clarify here, and we've seen this in the past. Smart city does not mean everything run on tech. So smart NBFC does not mean a pure fintech driven NBFC. Okay. But having said that, technology has to be a very, very important element of it. But it will remain an important part of that sector of the NBFCs, not purely tech-driven NBFC. Because I always believe, when you reach out to the last mile or the last person, that personal human touch still plays a very, very important role. You cannot take human out of lending. Yes. Right? That human touch has to be there. So tech, one thing, and smart when I say one tech, second, be aware and ready to evolve, ready to change. Change at, if I may say, a very short period, because something new develops, you should be ready to adapt and, change the model. Gone are the days when you sit idle, okay, we have one model, you expect people to come to you, that's just. And third element is also to be not only on the receiving side of being complying to the regulations, I would go a step ahead, being smart to even put across to the regulator, to the policy makers, that here I am in the ground, sitting here, doing business, doing this vision, and that here are the new evolving challenges. See, you have to become the eyes and ears of the regulators and the policy makers. Indulge more, and now I see a lot of openness being shown by the government, a lot of openness being shown by the regulator to indulge in discussion stakeholder. Modalities could be even, it need not be in-person meetings, or it could not be even one-on-one online meetings. There are enough ways and means, there are platforms created, you can use that. So become the eyes and ears of those policymakers and regulators and update them what is happening in the market. So that, see, regulation is not something that the regulator will dream suddenly and come up in the morning and show circular. Everything is a fallout of what is happening in the market, on the ground. So the more agile you are in reporting that change to the policymaker, the more apt and more agile you should expect the policymaker or the regulator to come up with that suitable regulation. Yes. So that is very important. Let's now think that सब कुछ सरकार पे छोड़ना, okay, government करेगी. No, you have to think and make government work. become their eyes, tell them this is something happening. We need to, it could be anything, it could be something happening, already happened on the ground, or you are smelling something, that something may happen going ahead. That is how things are moving. Report it.
Exactly.
Who stops you? Tomorrow, who knows? You could be the real man who brought out that, And there are enough ways we've seen people being recognized. Today, we see every month, at the end of every month, none other than Honorable Prime Minister in his Mann Ki Baat talks about such instances. And overnight, you are a celebrity. And that's where, so as I said, when the government is open, the regulator is open, why can't we be open? So that's why I use the word smart. Don't get lethargic, be smart, use technology, use innovations, be aware of what is happening around and report that.
That is really, really, really well explained, sir. I'm here loss of words actually, because the word that smart that you have used here is basically, the combination of all the things that one should be. Every business that is coming up in now fewer days, like if be it a startup or be if a long established business, if you are always on the receiving side of it, then you are not going to go anywhere. You have to become the provider, be smart, be providing, and
Yeah, let me add. Also, because often I've seen this in with my personal experience. Generally, people say, "Yaar, I am a small player, मैं तो छोटा आदमी हूँ." Come out of that mindset. If I may tell you, since I come from a body, we represent the sector. What if I tell you that 80% of our effort, resources are spent on trying to highlight and address the issues of the smaller players. Exactly. Similarly, go up to the government, you see government day in and day out, any ministry, any department you pick up, they're talking of MSMEs. Exactly. Right? So it's the small who are at the focus. You are at the focus. If you are small, man ke chalo, the spotlight is on you. See, bigger players are managing. They are doing their fine. They're doing their show. They will continue to do so. It's the smaller ones who are on the limelight. Because let's also look at the other side. Any wrongdoings happening also start from the lower level. It start. I'm not saying that bigger scams nahi hote hain, but sometimes the situation is such that people are forced to, if I may use the word, be non-compliant. Yes. Right? Exactly. Even if that is a situation, you have every right and every business to report that I could not do this because of this. Before regulator jumps in, penalizes you, take action against you, why can't you be forthcoming and come up? I faced a problem, so I could not be compliant. Exactly. So being small is not bad. This small is now, quote unquote, actually beautiful.
Wow. So being small is now actually very beautiful. I mean, I'm really lost of words here, sir. I'm really very mesmerized by the, findings and your wisdom. So that is a really well, knowledge that we have gained today here. So this is actually the point of, organizing and, converging these events so that not only us, not only our viewers, but people at scale, hear about this, get a knowledge about this. So that is what the whole motto of it, and I'm glad that we are part of it, sir. So thank you, thanks a lot once again. So guys, this was Mr. Raman Aggarwal, CEO, FIDC. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and it's pleasure. Once again, compliments to the entire team at Elets Technomedia. You guys have been doing a wonderful job. I always say the number of events you do on NBFCs, nobody does it. So you can take that credit for you, for sure.